average daily LPG supply increased from 4,262 metric tons in May to about 5,040 metric tons in June, with officials expressing optimism that increased supply will eventually ease prices. But industry experts warn that unless deeper structural issues, including infrastructure deficits, domestic pricing policies and foreign exchange challenges are addressed, Nigerians may continue to pay more than they should for a product the country has in abundance. So, why is cooking gas becoming increasingly expensive in one of the world's most gas-rich nations? What is driving the latest price surge, and what must government and industry do to make clean cooking fuel affordable once again?
Yes, that situation, and that's the question we want to be asking our guests who are here on this. We're starting with what's behind the current cooking gas situation. Is it a supply challenge? Is it market forces, infrastructure gaps, or is it a combination of all of these three? Let me begin with you, energy expert Mr. Martin Ayokola. It's great to have you join us on the front burner on LN 24/7. Yes. From that report, it was established that Nigeria has one of Africa's largest gas reserves. Why are Nigerians still paying for so much for cooking gas? And we keep, experiencing this kind of situation. From your investigations, what do you think it is? All right, let me take that question to you, Mr. Chude, if you're there. What's your own take on that? Let me get your reaction first of all. Mr. Chuks, Emeka. All right, while we're working on that, establishing their connection, let me come to you, Mr. Kitola. What's your take on this? Why are we experiencing this? We have this. You heard that report, trillion cubic. What's the issue?
Yeah, thank you so much. Happy New Month. And I wish Nigerians and all our viewers a blissful month. And all the question you asked, I think the problem is not today. It has been a long problem, a problem that Nigerians, it's like we rejoice when things like this happen, because some people will capitalize on that. And fortunately, I do buy gas, and I had to increase my cylinders to about 3 or 4, so that my frequency and because of that lag of time to visit the gas station, the next thing I knew, when the gas went down, I said, okay, oh yeah, let's go to the gas station. I found it at 1,600. And within that period, the next day, it got to around 1,008. And it went on to
Even got to around 2,000 at some
2001.
Point.
And I wonder what could have been the problem. Like you said, a combination of everything. And in this country, it's like we are not conscious of the populace. Because these are things that we use. The same thing that happens to petrol is happening there. If we are conscious, and there are plans, I believe it's like a father who has a family, and you are saying there is no food in the house. Why should there be no food? Since you know this is the amount of food they need. And it's not like what's it called, said.
Report.
The report said we have so much in abundance. Our economy has so much reserve, but the populace are suffering. Why can't we focus on the populace, let them feel fat, let them be comfortable, and then from there, and I believe a community where they have less of problem of running around all these things will make a better economy. So it is more of we ourselves, our thinking.
All right.
We've not really sat down to think about how to make things work in this country.
Okay, it is about ourselves. I'm told Mr. Martin Ayokola is online now. Yes, we're looking at the challenges. What's driving the current price increase. So for you as an energy expert, what are the biggest factors? Is it global market exchange rates? Is it infrastructure? Or is it policy? What was the reason behind the soaring prices we've experienced in the past weeks?
I think it's a combination of factors. It's just not one. Yes, the problem in the Middle East is an issue. Local supply problem is also an issue. So it's a mix of factors that is causing the problem. And basically, I think those issues have always been there. The market is growing, and we need to develop more gas facilities to meet the rising demand. The demand has been going into the use of cooking gas, much more than before. So I think the industry and government need to do much more to produce more LPG locally, so that people can have access to it.
Your statement that I'm getting now, it does feel like this disruption is mainly within. So does it expose our own deeper structural problems when it comes to the gas sector?
Yeah. I think we've not done much to develop the gas industry. It's still seriously underdeveloped. We still flare a lot of gas that we shouldn't be doing. And a lot of our major gas projects are tailored towards the export market. So we need to do more locally. I know LNG is producing LPG for the local market. I know Dangote is also producing, and then some upstream producers. But we need more people to join in, because the market is big and it's growing.
All right, thank you, Mr. Akintola. Let me come in there now. So it does look like it's a self-inflicted challenge, honestly. So, but looking at it from the policy, looking at it from the area of regulation, how best do you think that, is it mainly a challenge of policy and self-regulation? Yeah,
the two are combined. If there is a regulation that says this percentage of whatever you produce must go for local runnings, I think it will elevate some of those. Like he said, more of what we focus on is exportation. And we want to get so much dollars back to our economy. But if there is dollar, and the economy is not satisfied, there is no way the fullness of what we need. So I believe the focus of government should be, let them increase that percentage that will come to for local consumption. As it goes to petrol, it goes to LPG. I don't see the reason why we should be importing LPG at this moment. Because if we know we have so much, and the market is there, it will even expand our economy in terms of people getting engaged. We look at the CNG issue, the same thing happens. How many people are involved since it has been announced? And what are the policies that are on ground to make it more robust than what we just... most of the things we do in this country is like the word of mouth. Why we don't back it up with so much strength as it is. He said there are refineries that are producing, but how much? If it is mandated that you must satisfy this market, the question also goes back to our statistics. How much of data do we have? Because you may find out that what the data is saying is what they are trying to satisfy. And like he said, it's growing. And that means our statistics must be continuously getting to the market to know what the demand is. And then the feedback will go to those who are producing. And with the policy of government, it will be able to work together in tandem so that at the end of the day, you have the fullness of saturating the market. What makes the market not to be oversaturated? Let it be oversaturated. Let people be. And let many also. I don't know whether the laws that guide in terms of operators, the laws may also be so stringent that it's difficult for people to get into that industry to be able to get that satisfied. So these are part of the things that has to be looked into. And the consciousness of the people, I think we always make things to run that way. But if we continue to work this way, we continue to have shortage and people keep crying. And you should know, Nigerians, when things goes up, to come down becomes a problem.
Mr. Ayokola, so in one word, the challenges, we're talking about storage, we're talking about processing, we're talking about distribution. Which one should be more of a focus here? I know, yes, you say we should establish more facilities. It does look like distribution is also a major issue. So it's not like we do not even have the facility. But then the distribution, we get to see more of exports than, is it more of exports? Exactly, of what we have, by which locals are not having enough to consume. So out of those three, which one should be the focus of the government at this moment to solve this issue?
Well, it will be more of the private sector thing, much more than the government thing. But I think we just need more, government just needs to find a way to encourage more investments in the downstream subsector, and especially the gas subsector too, especially, I mean the LPG, cooking gas subsector of the industry. We need more investment there, definitely. And of course, we have to look at storage is an issue, and then distribution is also a big issue. Moving it from one place to the other, getting it to the outlets. Most people still rely on some informal outlets in their areas to get cooking gas. You don't see many big outlets selling it, and that's a problem. And then again, transportation, moving it from one place to the other is also a big issue. Moving it from, sometimes they have to move from Lagos down to so many other states and all that. So it's always so they need to find a way to, government needs to collaborate with the private sector to actually build distribution channels to ensure that there's seamless movement of LPG across the country.
Just when it happened, I heard a lot of Nigerians say, we'll go back to firewood, we'll go back to this, because it really got to that peak that Nigerians began to worry a lot. And this is not the first time, really, that we're experiencing this. And it does look like we really do not know what to do. And that takes me to our second talking point about how the price increase kept affecting Nigerians. And maybe we should have that conversation, because you said we need to look at the populace. Household income, the purchasing power is very low. Nigeria is still at 70,000 minimum wage that we're paying. And if a kilogram of gas is about 2,000 naira, that's really worrisome. So from household budgets to food vendors to small businesses, what are the wider economic implications? It's important that we look at this. And Mr. Ayokola, what does this increase actually mean for the average Nigerian family already battling inflation?
Yeah, it's not. Of course, it's not good for any of. It's not good for them. Reality is that there are a lot of prices of virtually every commodity is high. Petrol is high. Then cooking gas is also high. So it makes it difficult for people to get by. So basically, I think we should always do everything to ensure that prices of things like this, like cooking gas, is not beyond the reach of the common man. It's something that should always be affordable. It's something that everybody should be able to buy. So there's no reason why it should be difficult for even a low-income person to be able to cook with cooking gas. It shouldn't be for the middle class or the upper middle class. No, it should be for the low income class. I mean, that's the way it should be, so that you can people can practice safe cooking. You don't have to be using firewood or be burning smoke all over the place to cook. No, it shouldn't be that way. The situation should be that people should be encouraged. They should be incentivized. Low-income earners should even be incentivized to use cooking gas. Shouldn't be should be priced in such a way that is beyond the reach of even the middle class. So I think Nigerians already have enough on their plate, price-wise, in terms of high prices. So I think whatever is needed to be done should be done to ensure that the prices come down. The prices come down. I think basically it's all about supply. If supply is enough, then prices will definitely come down. But if supply is inadequate, there will always be a problem.
You know, many countries are looking to progress. They are looking to move beyond what it is. I recall the days firewood was, in those days. And, we saw recently that a lot of even low-income earners had begun to use, even if it's a kg of gas, those people who sell food, that's not what they use. And imagine us now going back to the days of firewood, what consequences, or what are the consequences, what environmental consequences do you think would arise if households abandon LPG?
Yeah, you said it, environmental impact, even the earth situation, because most people that have abandoned it, is still the same kitchen where provision was not made for firewood or charcoal that they will still be using. And like you said, depletion of oxygen within that environment to be able to cook. And eventually, health issue may arise from it. It may not come at a go, but cumulatively. And because the income of the people is not so much now, I think it is affecting nearly everybody, whether you are high income or low income. You may, like I told you, it happened this morning that we had only one cylinder out of all, because the last time I was supposed to go and buy, I didn't have the time, and therefore the lag. So anytime I tell one of my boys, okay, go and buy, within them, that consciousness that this thing is high, they don't want to go.
They don't want to go. So, I mean, I even the fear is in me to when my gas is, I'm like, oh, I've used it for the past how many months? It could finish at any point.
so eventually, this morning, while they were cooking, they had only one cylinder to use instead of having one or two. Yeah, they can do all those sorts. So the effect, we may believe, okay, it's only on the low income or the middle income, but even the rich also cry with all this, because you have your budget, whether you like it or not, you know what you have been spending. But when everything, your salary is not increasing, but everything start going up. And unfortunate thing now, with this rain and with all that is happening, logistics may even be more difficult.
Exactly.
Some of these trucks who are supposed to deliver may not be able to get to where they're supposed to. And even those who are doing retailing, using bike, many of our roads are bad. The crisis we had since last week up to now, Lagos-Ibadan Expressway yesterday was so much. If a vehicle is going to deliver somewhere, will it be able to get to that? So most of these things, when you look at it holistically, there is a lot of problem. And who are the people who are suffering? It's the masses. And it is unfortunate that we have not gotten that consciousness. The question I kept asking, since all these things are happening, has anybody from NNPC, is it NDP, ROC, or even the Consumer Protection
I did. I think the FCCPC, this says something about the retailers and all of those reducing their prices because they had carried out some measures and all of that. But I don't know. I mean, if they are not getting it as a cheap rate, why would they want to?
What you buy is what you are going to sell.
Exactly.
I was at the petrol station some few days ago when they said the price went down. I saw a lot of them still having that price as high as it was.
And we have the crude prices at about $70 a barrel as at Monday.
So it has not come down.
And it doesn't come down.
And so when you look at it in Nigeria, who is monitoring all this? Even if they are doing it wrong, who is monitoring? Who will tell us? Like there was a time we normally have a daily rating of whatever. Okay, LPG today, this is supposed to be the price for petrol. This is supposed to be the price. But nothing is happening again, no news. So everybody is dumped on that until we go back to regulation. Who is regulating us? And if nobody is regulating, nobody is talking, because those who are the exploiters will continue to exploit. And then the masses will continue to cry. But unfortunately, we are no more crying out. We are crying within. And if you are crying within, you know the consequence. untimely death, sickness, and before you know it, I pray people will start exploding.
Mr. Ayankola, Mr. Akintola did, talk about the personal challenges that could arise if prices do not abate, if they keep soaring. From your own point of view, looking beyond what he has said, what are the broader economic consequences if cooking gas prices keep going up? Yes, I hear that it has begun to reduce, but then I have not seen it. Nobody has, the people I've spoken to have said, oh, it's still at the same price.
Well, I've also heard that the prices are coming down. I also learned that they have made some imports recently within June. Within the last month. They brought in some cargoes of LPG. So it's expected that the market will be better supplied this month. So we hope that the price will start to go down. But basically, I think the ultimate solution is for more local production of LPG, and as the first speaker said, for more of the local production will be dedicated to the local market. And then again, if people are also importing, government should make it easy for them to access forex, and then they shouldn't create any bottlenecks around the importation process. And then again, government will also look at tax. How much tax are they asking the LPG, players to pay? That could also be a factor in pricing. So that could also be looked into to further reduce prices. But basically, I think this thing happens. It happens once in a while. It comes and goes because supply is very tight. I doubt whether even what we have now is able to meet daily demand. I doubt whether it is able to meet the daily demand. So we need to define what our daily demand is and then try to surpass it, because that's how to bring prices down. Because if you need 5,000 metric tons per day and you are doing 4,005, you're still going to have this kind of problem. So we need to work on everything, work on supply, work on distribution, so that prices will go down. But basically, of course, if prices are up like they are now, most people suffer. The majority, most Nigerians are poor. They are living below poverty line. So you can imagine if they have to pay high transport fares, high LPG prices, and everything is killing. So, and of course, it means that more and more people will drop below the poverty line once prices continue to increase like this. So, government should intervene, ensure that there's enough supply, and remove the bottlenecks that could be hindering smooth supply of LPG within Nigeria.
You did make mention that some issues as much as forex could be an issue, and government should work and to ensure that those that are supplying or those that are distributing are getting this easy. But then you also talked about private investments in this that will play a key role in the LPG pricing and supply area. But then, let me come to you. Do you think that these sustained issues, he did say it, he did mention that it happens, once in a while, but we've seen it. In a year, we could witness it like twice a year.
More than
twice. And we want private sector investments. This kind of issues, do you think that it could discourage, it could sustain, it could discourage future investment in the sector?
Yeah, thank you. The question we keep asking, LPG is from petroleum, is a petroleum based product. Where are the modular refineries we've been talking about? The only one we are celebrating, and we are still celebrating.
Can the modular refineries do enough?
Modular, they are small ones. Let them add all those ones. But where are they? And apart from Dangote today, how many of them are really producing? So the enabling environment, you mentioned about tax and some other things. These are part of the things that has to be. Because what I learned is that some of these things, the supply is based on dollar. The rating is on dollars. So if it's for local, why can't we, like you did, they did when they were talking about Naira. Let them put it in exchange and put it in Naira. Why should we dollarize what we are using in Nigeria? It's like a Nigerian spending a dollar as a means of exchange within the country. I think we need to look at some of these.
Really.
We need to look at some of these policies and then think about the people. It's all people-based. When we think about, oh, what is the government? Is it not on the people we are going to use it? Why people are fat in doing things, in whatever you are doing, you can use less time in doing them. You have more time to do other things that are productive. But when I get engaged in thinking about the gas I'm going to use at home, I think that time I'm consuming using that, I can deploy it to do something else. So things have to change. And I want to appeal to government, whatever they need to do to make people happy. People are really not happy with government because of policies. Because most of these things, there is no individual that will tell you wants to start producing LPG. It has to go into government with all the regulations and every other thing. When it is put together, then you can come up with saying, okay, because if you look at, I don't know whatever the margin will be. Is it productive that if you invest so much in it, you will recoup your money within that span of time? So those are part of the things. He mentioned that of export. Those who are importing, are they giving them that enabling environment to be able to export well, and at the end of the day, they can say, yes, it's worth doing it. So if that is what we need to do now to cushion the effect, please, we are appealing, let them do that. If we need to encourage our modular refineries, please, can you give more segment to LPG production, which is for locals? I think we need to encourage them.
Mr. Ayankola, you know, it does feel like the people are vulnerable here, and we are at the mercy of the government. And let me ask you, as a journalist as well, what do you think is the mind of in the mind of the government based on our LPG issue? What is the government even saying?
Well, I think, like I said earlier, I think they tried to intervene last month. I think they've been able to facilitate some. I think they gave out some import licenses to some people to bring in LPG, which they said they have brought. So I think there's always a supply gap which always need to be filled. And you know, the price of LPG is already commercialized. It's not as if government is selling it. We are actually paying the market price for it and all that. So it's just for us to create the right environment for people to invest money and make adequate profit. I'm sure if we create that kind of environment, there will be things will get better price-wise. You know, so because it's all about whenever you see prices going up, you know that must have to do with supply issues. You know, when something is not enough, that's when people start to hoard it or to profiteer from it and all that. So we need to create an environment that will make it easy for people to invest their money, recover their money, and you know, and and also encourage them to invest in every segment of the business, whether to produce it or to distribute it or to store it. So you need to create that kind of environment, and that means we should look at the issue of multiple taxation. Don't tax people too much so that in a way that they will not have the confidence to invest. Then have a cleaner business environment for people to bring in their money. So I believe that, the option will be, okay, if we need 5,000 metric tons or 6,000 metric tons per day, and we cannot produce it, we can always get some from abroad. But you know, if you also have some high taxes that you are putting on imported ones and stuff like that, that's when the problem comes. So I think government needs to look at all those things. We need to create a better, a much more conducive environment for business to thrive. And I think when we do that, things will work seamlessly and prices won't just be moving up anyhow.
I mean, that led us to our third talking point about what happens next, really, and, you know, what the government should be doing, you know, what is the role of industry players in all of this, and how soon can Nigerians expect some stability in the market? It did buttress what the government has done, trying to intervene, trying to give licenses. Should the government intervene directly? I know that the petroleum sector is deregulated at the moment, but then we see some sort of a bit of regulation when it comes to pricing as well, in gas, in LPG purchase and sale and all of that. Should the government intervene directly, or should market forces continue to determine the price as we have it today?
Yeah, I think that's the essence of NNPC still being in business. Government still have some percentage of interest in NNPC. So, NNP is supposed to come in at this moment because I believe their own role is that when things are escalating, they will come in to cushion whether they use their agents or anything. So, government has a role to play because if it escalates to the extent that people cannot buy the LPG again, they abandon it and they go back to the traditional way of cooking.
And we're talking about cleaner energy.
Cleaner energy, the environment, ozone layer.
Exactly, ozone layer.
If you get back to UK, Free State, I was discussing with one of my sisters living there, said the heat was so much that he had to...
Yes, the heat wave in Europe generally.
In Europe generally. Even the World Cup they are playing, the Iranians, they interviewed them on TV and they talked about the heat. And everything is attributed to the ozone layer, climate change, which I think the UN also made some statement about it. So unless you are saying climate change does not affect us here, let's continue.
Yeah, it seems we have a fair weather in Nigeria, and we are grateful to God for that.
We think so. For those who are experiencing heat, they know that it's not fair. Even when you have excess of rain and all those things, even now, okay, now that it's raining, will it be possible for you to get into the bush to take wood?
Firewood.
Firewood is only the charcoal. And mind you, it's also an opportunity for the charcoal people to increase their price. You said the roads are not good.
Charcoal will be wet.
Will be wet. And no, I mean also in terms of price. The price change,
yes,
we also, somebody who is telling at 2,000
because there will be high demand.
High demand. And the road network is not good enough to even bring those charcoal from wherever, because of the period in which we are. So many things will be affected. It's easier for us to get this LPG at any petrol station or your local retailers. But mind you, it will become a chain of factors that will now make things to be hard for people. And like I said, people are crying within. Please, we must do everything to cushion the effect. We need an NPC, we need government policies to make things to go down.
Talking government policies, Mr. Ayankola, what single reform would be the biggest, would make the biggest difference if we were going to speak to the government on this? What single reform would make that, turn around when it comes to LPG issues?
Well, I think people should just investors should just be incentivized to produce. I believe that when you have more production, more local production, we will probably take care of most of these problems we're seeing. And then we have more investment in distribution and storage all over the country. I think we'll take care of it. I'm very optimistic that the industry is growing. It has a lot of potential. Yes, I see that. Generally, when the Middle East crisis started, it affected energy prices generally, not just LPG. Also, you also see that even petrol is also sky high. It's about 1,003, just coming down now. But I believe that when we have a well-arranged, a conducive environment for business to grow, government should create that. I think the industry has got to a level that with some government support, it should be able to stand and provide stable supply of LPG, whether it's imported or it's produced locally. But I would prefer that we produce most of what we consume locally. And so we need to encourage more local production. We need to incentivize investment in storage facilities and distribution facilities. I think those things should be done. Once government does that, the situation should get better.
I share your optimism, really, because yes, the potential is there. We have it. And sometimes I just wonder why we find it difficult to just implement or manage or employ or deploy some of the resources that we have in our hands. You know, sharing is optimism. Do you think that Nigeria realistically now can become self-sufficient when it comes to cooking gas distribution?
There is nothing impossible. Like you said in your first statement, that we are one of the largest producers of gas. And the experts said some time ago, we are not even crude oil, but we are more of gas. So we have the reserve. Who is ready to take it out for our own benefit? And I believe until we make up our mind, if we refuse to, nobody will do that for us. It's we that will say, okay, this is, like I said, I also added that our statistics, do we have the data to be able to encourage those who want to invest? Because, okay, I saw 4,000, 5,000 being distributed. Is that what we need? Is that what we need, or we need more? If we need more, be able to say, okay, these are the areas where we need, and we want people, maybe, if there are chains, where does government, where does funding, who will fund this sector, so that the chain will be complete. So those are part of the things. It's a thing to produce. It's a thing to be able to transport. It's a thing to distribute. If there are facilities available that people can really easily get there and say, okay, let me go into this sector, I think it will also, the value chain will become a thing that is effective.
You know, supply seems to be much of the challenge that we have been able to establish in this conversation that we've had in a while. And, you know, we kept talking about what the government should do, how the government can do it. I know we also talked about the private sector, Mr. Ayankola, but what specific role do you think that the private sector would play in solving this challenge? Perhaps, yes, they are provided with all of this, or even when they are not provided, is there a major role they could play in solving this issue at this moment as we have it?
Well, my thought is always that business people are always business people. They are out, they go into business to make profit. So some of the time they try to show some concern for the public, but at least I think yes, they should. One of the roles they could play is that if they are producing LPG locally, they should make all the LPG they are producing locally. When there's crisis, they should make all the LPG they are producing available locally. They shouldn't export. They shouldn't export. You know, maybe either they should try to, you know, make everything they produce available locally, especially when they see that there's a crisis, you know, or when a crisis situation. So it doesn't all go well if we're in a crisis situation to hear that maybe some people are still exporting LPG when we are struggling to meet local demand. So they also should understand. I think the private sector should also understand that when things are like that, they should also, you know, show some patriotism by you know, putting some of their, you know, some of their products scheduled for export for local consumption. And I think that when people also need to import, government needs to be proactive about issuing the licenses to them so that they can always bring in the needed product to bridge the supply gap. So I think the private sector, they are, of course, they are in business. They always want to make money, and Nigeria is a big market. The LPG market is a big market. People, the demand is there and it's growing. It's growing every day. So there's tremendous potential for them to also make money. So they should also, support the industry in such a way that it will continue to grow, and everybody, both the consumer and the suppliers, will benefit.
These issues, we talked about supply, and we know that it could be as a result of the macro issues as well, the global issues. But then we see it abating, easing. We've seen the effect of that on crude prices and all of those things. Do you think that consumers should begin to see the effect of prices dropping to what it used to be when it comes to LPG in a very short time now?
We believe, but the issue about Nigeria is that money shows the day. How has it been in the past?
Sometimes maybe some of them just want to quickly make that quick cash while it is cheap now. Yes. Yeah. I know you did talk about what regulators should be doing, checking those areas.
I think we capitalize on some of these things and we keep it stagnant and it becomes a norm.
So the problem is from us.
It's from us. Because how will I know what the price is supposed to be if I'm not informed? There should be constant information to the people. Because if I know, like even some of these key players, if those people are really, okay, go to this station, I know I can have it better. People will, by the time I abandon the ones that are very close, I can even go in kilometers to go and get the ones that are cheaper because I know this is the price that government, but nobody is informing us. Nobody knows what's supposed to be right price. These players, those sellers, stand on whatever they have, and they keep selling. And what will the consumer do? He will just buy whatever he sees, or because he wants to get something to do. So government has a very great role. And the other time you spoke about, the question is about those who, the importers and everything. We may not blame them. I don't know the margin they will get in that compared to maybe diesel or petrol. So when you look at it, if the margin is not so much, I think they will abandon getting LPG. So government must be ready to make it fat. Talking about taxes.
Filling the gap.
Filling the gap at this moment. And if everything is stabilized, it still budges down on statistics. Do we know our demand? If our demand, okay, is going down, we will not be able to, then whatever we need to do, maybe NNPC we need to say, okay, get more gas, so that let's have it in excess, so that there won't be any crisis. I don't think we are in crisis also.
I don't think so as well. I really don't think so.
If we are in crisis, everybody will know we are in crisis.
I really don't think we're in crisis as well, really. The ball is in our court. It looks like an easy fix for us. It's something that we could fix within our, it shouldn't be a macro thing that would be affecting us or a headwind that would be affecting, because we have it in abundance, really. So it's in our court, the ball is in our court to do what is needful and meet the consumption of every Nigerian. This is something a lot of Nigerians have turned to on a daily to make use for their cooking, for their sales. Small businesses are dependent on it. So it's crucial that the government will work on the policies and the regulation to ensure that the prices abate. And then everyone, even with the little minimum wage that they're earning now, will be able to have the purchasing power to get the LPG. I must say thank you so much for your time, Mr. Martin Nayokola. Thank you, as well as Engineer Akitayo Akitola. Thank you so much for coming on the show. All right, so right after now, we will take news now. And when we return, our focus is still on the repatriation, the cost, the economic cost, the implications of that on Nigerians, even Africans as a whole. Not just Nigeria has been able to repatriate. Ghana, we see, has repatriated. So we want to look at the economic cost of that. And what's next? What next for those that have gone back home? Do stay with us. You're watching TMS.